8.1.
How often do you have your car serviced?
I don't have the flat cleaned. I clean it myself.
She has her house repainted every few years.
I'm having my hair cut tomorrow.
We've had a new bathroom put in.
The flat was in good condition, so we didn't have it redecorated.
When did you have those photos taken?
We're going to have the carpets cleaned next week.
You ought to have your roof repaired.
8.2. 1.
I had my hair cut last week.
2.
I usually have my food shopping delivered.
3.
I ought to have my eyes tested.
4.
I'm going to have my flat repainted soon.
5.
I hate having my photo taken.
8.3. Looking after yourself. 1. At the hairdresser's or barber's. 4.
Bunches.
5.
A buzz cut.
3.
A fringe.
1.
A parting.
6.
A ponytail.
2.
Plaits.
11.
Have your hair bleached.
7.
Have your hair curled.
10.
Have your hair dyed.
8.
Have your hair put up.
9.
Have your hair straightened.
13.
Have a blow dry.
12.
Have a perm.
14.
Have a shave.
16.
Have a treatment.
17.
Have a trim.
15.
Have highlights.
8.4.
Dino, what made you choose hairdressing? What sort of training did you do? What sort of things do you love or hate doing in hairdressing? What do you think are important qualities for a hairdresser? Are women clients very different from men? What do you do if a client doesn't like the results? Have you ever had a really bad experience? Is it true that hairdressers always want to cut off more hair than their clients want? If you completely disagreed with what a client wanted, would you still do it? Do you have any tips for having good hair?
8.5.
Dino, what made you choose hairdressing?
I always liked it from when I was a child. I remember being taken to the barber's by my dad when I was a child in Greece, and I really loved the atmosphere there.
He wasn't a barber himself, though.
No, but my aunt was a hairdresser.
Ah. What sort of training did you do?
When I came to London, I went to the Vidal Sassoon Academy. It was a 2-year course, absolutely fantastic, very intense. I loved it.
What sort of things do you love or hate doing in hairdressing?
I love everything. There really isn't anything I don't like. And I do everything. Cut, color, highlights, straightening. Nowadays, some hairdressers specialize in maybe just color or just styling. But I think it's important to do everything.
What do you think are important qualities for a hairdresser?
Well, as I just said, I think being able to do everything, color, styling, cutting, is very important. I don't believe in specializing in just one area.
Any other important qualities?
I think you need to be sociable, to be able to talk to people, calm them down if they're stressed, listen to them if they want to talk.
Do you enjoy that?
Yes, I do. The sociable side of hairdressing was one of the things that attracted me to it. Even women who want to tell me all their problems, I don't mind it at all. It doesn't distract me.
Are women clients very different from men?
Yes, definitely. They are normally the ones who want to talk, and they are much more worried, stressed about their hair. Men are more quiet and relaxed, and they're not normally very fussy about their hair.
What do you do if a client doesn't like the results?
I try to correct it immediately. That's easy if it's the color, less easy if it's a cut.
Have you ever had a really bad experience? I mean, one where you couldn't correct it?
Only once, when I was still at college. I cut a woman's hair shorter than she was expecting it. Not much, only about 1 centimeter shorter, but she burst into tears, and I couldn't correct that.
Is it true that hairdressers always want to cut off more hair than their clients want?
I think maybe it is. Many hairdressers want to make the hair healthier and cut off all the parts that are, damaged. Or sometimes they have a style in mind and they just want to do it. But obviously, normally I try to do what the customer wants. You have to be flexible. That's another important quality in a hairdresser.
So, if you completely disagreed with what a client wanted, would you still do it?
Well, if a client wanted a treatment that I thought was going to damage her hair, for example, if she wanted to have her hair bleached when it was already in bad condition, then I would say no. But if it was a question of style, for example, a woman who wanted to have her head shaved completely, I would try to convince her that it wasn't a good idea. But if she insisted, I would do it. It's her choice after all.
Do you have any tips for having good hair?
Yes. Use good products. Ones which are right for your type of hair. I noticed that a lot of people take a lot of trouble choosing the right face cream. For dry skin or problem skin, for day, for night, and so on. But with shampoo, they just buy the first one they see in the supermarket.
Thank you very much, Dino. I won't forget that.
8.6. 2. Keeping fit. Equipment. 9.
An exercise bike.
6.
A running machine.
5.
Weights.
10.
A rowing machine.
4.
A cross trainer.
12.
A yoga mat.
Exercises. 11.
Do sit-ups.
3.
Do press-ups.
8.
Do stretches.
7.
Do aerobics.
2.
Do spinning.
1.
Do Pilates.
8.7. 3. Beauty treatments. 5.
Manicure.
4.
Pedicure.
6.
Facial.
1.
Massage.
3.
Waxing.
2.
Fake tan.
8.8. 1.
It was hot and sticky and incredibly uncomfortable.
2.
And the head massage was divine.
3.
Definitely worth the time and money.
4.
A real luxury.
8.9. The body polish.
So, what did you think?
It was just horrible. Horrible! First they covered me in fruit puree, then they wrapped me in plastic film, then in blankets, and then I was left on a waterbed. I mean, come on! Fruit's for eating, not for putting on your body. It was hot and sticky and incredibly uncomfortable. And I felt so stupid. I'd never have that again. I give it 0 out of 10.
Sticky? It was fruit, for goodness sake. I thought it was wonderful. It smelled amazing and the head massage was divine. I mean, how could anybody not like it? That was one of my favourite spa treatments ever. 10 out of 10.
The foot treatment.
Wow!
Don't tell me you liked it.
It was wonderful!
I must say your feet look, wow, better. Clean anyway.
Well, I've never liked my feet much, to be honest, but now they look great. Definitely worth the time and money. 9 out of 10. What do you think?
Yes, it was great. A real luxury. And I love the colour they painted my nails. I agree. 9 out of 10. You see, I was right.
8.10. 1.
Napoleon was defeated in the Battle of Waterloo. Waterloo is in Belgium, just south of Brussels.
2.
The American fleet was attacked in Pearl Harbor in 1941.
3.
Berlin, which had been divided by a wall for 28 years, was reunified in 1989.
4.
The Sagrada Familia in Barcelona was started in 1882 and is still being built. It is due to be completed in 2026.
5.
According to legend, the city of Troy fought a famous war against Greece. It is thought by many to be in modern Turkey, but has never been definitively located.
6.
The city of Chichen Itza was built by the Mayans between 750 and 900 AD.
7.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated while he was being driven through Dallas in 1963.
8.
Chernobyl in the Ukraine had to be evacuated in 1986 after a catastrophic nuclear accident.
8.11.
The site is visited by thousands of people every year.
The castle is being restored at the moment.
The king's body has never been found.
10,000 soldiers were killed in an hour at the Battle of Gettysburg.
The bridge was closed because it was being repaired.
The hospital had been opened by the Queen 3 years before.
When will the new museum be built?
We are going to be given our exam results tomorrow.
The city centre has to be closed to all traffic next weekend.
The president must be elected by a clear majority.
Most people hate being woken up in the middle of the night.
8.12.
Buckingham Palace was built in the 18th century for the Duke of Buckingham and became the London home of the British royal family in 1837. St Paul's Cathedral was rebuilt in the 17th century by Sir Christopher Wren. Westminster Abbey was begun in the 13th century during the reign of King Henry III. Windsor Castle and the Tower of London were built in the 11th century during the reign of William the Conqueror.
8.13. 1,
You mustn't talk in class when the teacher is speaking.
2,
I got the wrong answer to half the questions.
3,
I doubt if we'll have time to visit the island.
4,
Listen to the sentence and copy the rhythm.
5,
I've wanted to learn a foreign language my whole life.
8.14. 1,
Good afternoon, everybody. Everyone, and welcome to St Paul's, which, as you probably know, is one of the most famous and most historic cathedrals in Britain. Just behind you is the Great West Door. You can see the Great West Door. The magnificent doors are 9 metres tall. And now in front of you, you see the nave, which gives you the most wonderful view of the full length of St Paul's Cathedral.
Two.
We're now in the centre of the cathedral. Look up above you, and you can see inside the wonderful dome. It's one of the largest domes in the world, and I personally think the most beautiful.
3.
We are now in the area called the South Transept. Over there you can see the monument to Britain's great naval hero, Horatio Nelson, who died at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805.
C'est lui qui est sur...
4.
We're now in the South Choir aisle, and we're just going to stop for a moment to look at this marble statue of John Donne.
Five.
Now, are you all feeling energetic? I hope so, because we're going to go up these stairs here to the Whispering Gallery, which goes around the inside of the Great Dome, and I do need to tell you that there are 257 steps.
Yo no voy. Yo no voy.
6.
We're now going to go back along the nave and then down into the crypt to see some of the tombs of famous people who are buried in St Paul's.
(8.15) Part 1.
Good afternoon, everybody. Everyone, and welcome to St Paul's, which, as you probably know, is one of the most famous and most historic cathedrals in Britain. The previous church on this site burned down in 1666 in the Great Fire of London, and the famous architect Sir Christopher Wren was asked to design a new cathedral. It took nearly 40 years to build and was completed in 1710. Just behind you is the Great West Door. You can see the Great West Door. The magnificent doors are 9 metres tall. They're normally closed, except when someone very special arrives, for example, Her Majesty the Queen. Yeah. And now in front of you, you see the nave, which gives you the most wonderful view of the full length of St. Paul's Cathedral.
Das ist wie schön.
Maybe some of you watched Prince Charles and Princess Diana walk down the nave when they married here in 1981. OK, now please follow me. We're going to walk down the nave and you'll see the north and south aisle on either side.
8.16. Part 2.
Right, can we just stop here? Can we stop here? We're now in the centre of the cathedral. Look up above you, and you can see inside the wonderful dome. It's one of the largest domes in the world, and I personally think the most beautiful. Yeah. Now, you remember the outside of the dome, which you saw when you arrived. Can anyone tell me what was on top of the dome?
A cross?
Yeah, that's right, a cross. In 1710, the year the cathedral was finally completed, Christopher Wren was 81 years old, and he was lifted up in a basket and was able to watch his own son place the cross on the top of the dome. Another fascinating thing about the dome is that from the top of the dome to the floor, down where you're standing, is exactly 365 feet, 1 foot for every day of the year.
How much is that in meters?
Approximately 111 metres. In fact, St Paul's was the tallest building in London right up until the 1960s, because until that time, no one was allowed to build anything taller near St Paul's. We're going to move on shortly, but just spend a few minutes now looking at the magnificent paintings. We are now in the area called the South Transept. Over there you can see the monument to Britain's great naval hero, Horatio Nelson, who died at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805.
C'est lui qui est sur...
Yes, yeah, he's the one on top of the Nelson's column in Trafalgar Square. We're now in the South Choir aisle, and we're just going to stop for a moment to look at this marble statue of John Donne. Donne was a dean of the cathedral and one of Britain's finest poets. He died in 1631. But this statue is also important because it's one of the few monuments that survived the Great Fire of London. And you can still see the burn marks at the bottom of the statue there. Now, are you all feeling energetic?
Yes.
I hope so, because we're going to go up these stairs here to the Whispering Gallery, which goes around the inside of the Great Dome, and I do need to tell you that there are 257 steps. So if there are any of you who don't think you can manage it, just wait for us here. So that wasn't too bad, was it? We're now in the Whispering Gallery. The gallery gets its name because if you whisper, talk very quietly on one side, your voice can be heard very clearly on the other side. When there are a lot of tourists, it doesn't always work. But as there aren't so many of us today, why don't you try it? So, did any of you try out the whispering? We're now going to go back along the nave, and then down into the crypt to see some of the tombs of famous people who are buried in St Paul's. Right, now, the tomb over there is Lord Nelson's. You remember you saw his monument earlier? And then here we have the tomb of the Duke of Wellington, who defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. And finally, this tomb here belongs to the great man himself, Sir Christopher Wren, the architect of St Paul's. It's just a simple stone monument, but can you see the Latin words on it? Anyone speak Latin here? No, well, I'll translate it for you. It says, "Reader, if you seek his monument, look around you." Because, of course, the whole of St Paul's is really Wren's monument.
8.17. 1.
Do you still go to the bank, or do you do all your banking online?
I do almost all of my banking online. The only reason I'd go into a bank is to ask for advice. So maybe for big things like a mortgage or a loan, I would go in to have a face-to-face conversation. But other than that, it's all online.
Have you ever had a problem with online banking?
Yes, I've had problems, just glitches in the system that mean you can't access it when you need to. I've never had a huge problem though.
2.
What's the best live event you've been to recently?
I would say the best live event I've been to recently is last time I was in LA, I went to a Dodgers game. The Dodgers are my favorite baseball team, and now they're in the World Series, so it was exciting to see them play this year.
Why did you enjoy it so much?
I enjoyed going to the Dodger game so much this year because I live in New York now, and I don't get to see them play in person that often, and they're a really good team this year, so getting to see them play was really exciting.
3.
Do you ever play board games or other kinds of games with friends or family?
Yeah, I play board games with my family, with my wife and with my children.
What's your favourite game? Why?
My favourite game? I would choose either Monopoly or Cluedo. I play both of them a lot with my children, with my family. I'd probably say Cluedo is my favourite. My children love it, and I've always loved it since I was a kid as well. It's a detective game where you have to solve a crime and who's committed it, what with, and where they did it, and it's a really good game.
4.
How often do you go to the hairdressers?
Once a month, I think.
What do you usually have done?
I get my hair cut. That's it.
Have you ever had a haircut that you really didn't like?
Many times. Once I remember that it turned out to be super short. I was very disappointed. I almost cried.
5.
What's the most interesting historical site you've ever visited?
I almost hate to say it because it sounds like a cliche, but the Colosseum in Rome. Just the architecture and the things that people were capable of with their brains before computers is just mind-blowing. But also the Museum of Science, the Galileo Museum in Florence, is also very cool.
Why did you go there?
We went to Rome and the Colosseum specifically because my husband wanted to. I wasn't very interested, but I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. And we went to the Galileo Museum because someone else had recommended it, and it seemed like an interesting thing to do, sort of off the beaten tourist path. And it was amazing. I think my brain melted a little bit.
Would you recommend it to other people?
Absolutely. If you do the Colosseum, pay extra for the guided tour. You get through the line faster.